this policy is going to cost more than $11 billion. It does deliver on an election promise from Labor. Unions, though, you heard a bit of the theme there, that there's more to be done in terms of the fight going on for better conditions and pay for all aged care staff. Let's bring you some more reaction now. Joining us live is Annie Butler. She's the Federal Secretary of the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Union. Good to see you. Thank you so much for your time. It is a big win for workers, isn't it? We heard the Minister describing this as a seismic shift in her news conference last hour. But there do seem to be some reservations still. What's your reaction to the announcement today?
We absolutely welcome this commitment from the government to, $11.3 billion dedicated for wage rises for aged care workers, across the country, across the sector. That's terrific. And our members have seen this announcement. They're given such hope by this and are really excited. So it's so important that we don't let them down at this particular moment. And what we're really concerned about is that there must be binding requirements on providers to make sure that those wage increases are passed on to the workers where they are supposed to go. That money, taxpayers' money, has been committed by the government for the dedicated workers in the sector. It must arrive in their pockets.
Just give us a bit of a sense of how life-changing this is, as the Treasurer described it earlier. How much does an average aged care worker earn, and how will that change in terms of the announcement today?
The 15% wage increase, it's going to be really significant for those workers. Some people might not realise whose incomes are already so much further above this. But if we looked at our sort of lowest paid workers who only earn about just over $23 an hour now, and that increase will see them go to $26.73 an hour, which is a significant increase, for them in their current situation. But I think it's important to remember that the unions have come together and they've asked for this wage increase, and we've been awarded 15%. We're actually seeking 25% because we think that that's what would recognise the true value of all aged care workers in the sector. So there's quite a bit more work to be done, but we have to acknowledge this is an excellent first step, but it is critical, absolutely critical, and we are working with the government to ensure that there are absolutely clear transparency and accountability measures over these dollars. And the reason I say this, the ANMF has been campaigning in aged care for decades now. We have seen well-meaning funding coming from well-meaning governments be lost before. $2.5 billion over the last 30 years has been lost. Unless we have binding requirements, we're not confident that that money will reach all the pockets of all the aged care workers the government wants it to reach.
Annie, we hear a lot about the workforce shortage in this sector. Just how severe is that, and how else, apart from lifting wages, can we really entice more workers to meet that need?
Well, the government's reforms are really critical in addressing the key things that we think are required in the sector, and that's the wage increase, and that's making sure it gets to every worker, the RN 24/7 requirement, and also coming in October, the mandated care minutes requirement. We know that aged care workers and aged care nurses across the country, the most important thing to them is more time. They need more staff and more time in order to deliver quality care. One of the big issues we have, though, we have 450,000 nurses and midwives currently on our register in the country. But too many of those people don't want to work in aged care right now, or have left because of the persistent poor staffing, poor wages and poor conditions. So what we also need is we need aged care providers to guarantee the wage increase, to commit to proper measures to recruit and, most importantly, retain their staff, and to create workplaces where nurses and aged care workers want to work, where they know they can deliver safe, quality care that they know older Australians really deserve.
Annie Butler, I really appreciate you joining us with your reaction to that big budget announcement. Thanks so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for your interest.